called into the hospital because we were told this is it. This time, this is absolutely it. He's on 3 life support machines in the ICU, and it was reported before I got there that no one has ever come out of the ICU who's been on all 3 machines without spending the remainder of their lives on at least one of those machines, and it's usually a very short period of time. So as I've written to the class, I was 600 miles away, and I was getting prepared to get in my car and drive down there. And I lived right nearby where I do now. I went up to this mountain, to this hills. It's a large hill, small mountain, to the place where it was one of his favorite spots next to a porcupine den. And I faced west. I looked out over the valley, and I gathered all the intent I could and pitched out an intent for him to survive. And then I get in my car and drove down there. And when I got there to the hospital, he was out of the ICU by the time I got there. He wasn't on any of the machines, and he was in a room. And that already was unheard of. And what was utterly crazy at that moment is that none of the nurses, none of the people in the hospital I talked to had any recollection of him. They didn't describe him being on those 3 machines and not being on them. It was like it disappeared. It's like it wasn't in anyone's consciousness. And his wife, who he was separated from at the time, she noticed the same thing. We were trading notes, and we said, "This is crazy. Nobody's aware of the scene that was set up ahead of time, that he was on 3 machines and you don't get off them." And we both looked at each other. We said, we think this is what people call a miracle, and he was having miracles around him all the time. So I went in the room, and he's looking at me, he's joking, he's laughing and stuff, and he starts telling me about what he's going to do when he gets out of the hospital. And he wants to go take fly fishing lessons. And his body was pretty beat up at this time. And I just laughed at him. I said, "Randy, come on, man. I don't think you're getting out this time." He goes, "Oh yeah, I will. I'm gonna fly fish." And so a couple months later, I have some pictures of him sitting in a chair. He had to sit when he was doing it, with a fly fishing rod casting out over a small stream. And we were off in the woods together. And it was utterly remarkable. But it rings absolutely parallel to what you were describing in the story. This was against all odds. There were no odds whatsoever that he was going to even have gotten to that point, much less get past that hurdle. Thank you for your story.
Thank you, Chris. So I would like that, let's go back to these questions and see, since we are all in this beautiful state of high love and connection between us and this incredible story that Matt shared with us, see how this feeling, how can I apply more love and careless to my life, and how I can bring that into the world. Because also Matt has this beautiful organization. We will send you the link to everybody after the class if you want to make a donation. And let's go back to these questions that we created here. So the experience doesn't go away in an hour when we hang up. It stays with you longer, this openness. What did you experience while Matt was recounting his experience? What feeling, thoughts, images, memories arose in you? What would you like to communicate to Matt, to yourself or to others? What areas of your life can be or were inspired by listening to his experience? So let's take a few minutes and just journal, answer the questions, whatever comes, write it down. So it's a way to get this deeper in ourselves, in our body. Anything else?
Yeah. Ride on the energy wave, and let it come into your personal life today, and use the energy and define something that can be touched and woken up by this, and you can deploy it, play it forward in your own life. So before we close the class, take a moment for that.
Anybody would like to share last sharing before we close?
Yes, I would like to say some words. Can I?
Sure, please, Saida. Yeah, and Saida will play beautiful piano before we close as well.
Okay. So, first of all, I want to say big thank you to Matt for this amazing, inspiring story. And I want shortly say what's happened with me when I was listening. So, and I still feel it. It's a strange feeling. I had a kind of cold and shaking in the hands. Not very good for piano, but anyway. And when he was telling about when his phrase, I even noted about when his mom said she must be there when his son living with, well, I'm not sure for exact phrase. And after when he said about he must, then his mother said him, you must fight and help with people to save you. I felt really, like heart pain. It's like from there. And the thoughts I have, it was about my family, about my relationships with my mom. So I thought about how important is a love of mother. And I note in these minutes, like the mother is a really magical being, and they have amazing power and to protect their kids, and this unconditional love they have for us, and this is precious. And because I used to have some, maybe like everybody, I don't know, like some stupid conflicts with my mom, and sometimes I used to say her that she's not loving me enough or something like this. So now I was thinking about how much I love my mom actually, and she is loving me and supporting me all these years, no matter what I'm doing or whatever. And also I thought about my brother, and suddenly I thought that I can really help him. So he asking me about help, and I always thinking how I can do it, what can I do. But when I was listening with story, it just came like, well, I'm not saying maybe what came, but like some practical way I can really do it, and I can do it. I'm not incapable to do it. I just need to act. So, and last thing I want to say, yeah, so I thought about my relationship with family, and I thought if this relationship I will keep it really in harmony, so I can be happier in this life. And if they are happy, and because it's really important, and it affects I think me, the relationship I have with my family members, and they are really important for me, and I love them. And like Tom, I also note this phrase. I really loved it. It's about to love more and care less. Wonderful. I will now use it if it's possible. Like citation is beautiful. So thank you very much. It's pretty more or less what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, Saida.
Thank you, Saida. Thank you.
A quick question. Well, this temporary pain that you had, then it went away, and then how does it feel, the area of the heart and the back?
Yeah, actually, it used to happen to me when I'm stressed about something, or I feel like I don't know.